Lizette, the second character. Actually, her name was originally going to be. I said earlier that Lizette was heavily based around my ex-girlfriend at the time. It was originally going to be her last name spelled backwards, which would be Lapamiz, which is Zimpel. That was her last name. And I thought, nah, that's a little too obvious. How can I change this up, figure out a way? It's like, oh, Lizette. You know, there's a way. It's like the same. It's very similar to Les Mis, but it's definitely different. And considering that it's become more like, she's become more like, just like the basic idea of what I like in a girl. Well, obviously I like my women a little bit older than 6, but
I hope.
a lot of like what I would like in a girlfriend, in a woman, is reflected into Lizette, and that's why Dranik likes her, because Dranik is based on me, and that's pretty much how that went. McKinley, the rabbit, that actually started as a joke with an older comic I did, like a one-shot comic I did for the newspaper called McKinley the Rabbit, and it was basically kind of a rip on Garfield. It's like, how should we merchandise this character? I know, let's make a comic strip. And then there's this fat rabbit that says, I hate Tuesdays. It's like, and I called him McKinley because McKinley is another president who got assassinated along with Garfield. I thought, I kind of like that name for the rabbit. Let's bring it back for this rabbit, that sort of thing. Oj Miz is the most complicated origin for a name because her full title is Marilyn Susan Oj Miz, and the Marilyn Susan part was added a little bit later. It was just Oj Miz, and sticking with the tradition of spelling names backwards, this one was actually combined. It was my ex-girlfriend's last name, the last part of that backwards, which is Miz, Zim, and another person, their first name spelled backwards, Oj, which is Joe, and she's like the biggest reason why I quit the newspaper, because I never went out with her or anything, and I kind of explain it in Negligent Origins, but I'll definitely explain it on here for people, pretty much everybody on the show who's never read it yet. And it's basically Joe was this girl who became like the editor-in-chief of the student newspaper, and she pretty much made this. It was fun before she showed up, and it became the least fun I have ever had with a student organization. It felt like work. Not like that, it felt like the job that you just hated to go to. It felt like this is no fun anymore. This is horrible. This just feels like, she's a control freak. She thinks that she's above it all, and the best way I can describe her while keeping it PG is she was a bitch. A total bitch. I have a better word for her, and it starts with the letter C. But I'm not going to say that on the air because I have standards. And because a woman is listening in, and I know they don't like that.
Roy, shut your ears.
But anyway,
this is the part of the show where we like to psychoanalyze our guest. And you have a lot of issues with women, I've noticed.
Oh,
a lot of revenge strips going on, and, what's the deal? Why can't you just...
Cutting out models' eyes.
Yeah, why can't you just... Wait, hold on. What was that, pit face?
Hey, I can research, too.
Oh, she just took that to a whole new level where I wasn't wanting to go. I was just trying to tease the guy a little bit, and she comes in with a serious psycho freak reference.
No, it's just, this is just an aggravating, I barely call her a woman because she's younger than me. She was 19 at the time. I was just a little over 20, 21. And she just annoyed the ever-loving piss out of me, and a couple of other people, and it's like, I can't take this anymore. I'm not getting paid to put up with this. I quit. And that's I had the last comic strip I did, ironically, was a psych ward that was it was a psych ward saying I was going to come back the next year because that was on my schedule, and it's like, okay, I'm not coming back the next year. Crap. But anyway, it's like
I'm not staying with you. I met another guy at the Comic-Con, and he's a much nicer geek than you are. He doesn't hate everything.
Oh, man. Boy, how this show has de-evolved here right in front of us. You hear that noise? That's us circling the rim of the toilet.
So, where can people find your comic if they're looking for it?
Oh, let me put down the web address. It's on drunkduck.com. Gotta type it in right. And while I'm typing that in, talk a little bit more about Ojmiz a little bit. Basically, the idea was I wanted to create like an antagonist to Dranik and Lizep, like the exact opposite of Dranik and Lizep, someone who's pretty like straight-laced, or that's what it eventually became, but somebody who...
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh.
Chat board screwed up. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Basically, I wanted to create like a definite antagonist to Dranik and Lizep because I wanted to bring them into a school environment. It's like, you know, they're kids. I think they should be in school, but I want them to go to school by their own choice, not by, you know, being forced to by some adult. And considering the adult that they, the adult that they're under guardianship for, it's not much of an adult, to be honest. So they kind of had to do it themselves. And then Ojmiz pops into the picture, and she's like, you know, the pretty popular, kind of annoying girl that y'all know, but it seems like every boy like wants to hang out with her, wants to do stuff for her, and she takes advantage of it. And of course, Dranik and Lizep don't fall for that spell. Dranik is like, in the first appearance of Ojmiz, she's like, she's pretty, but she's kind of a bitch, sort of thing. And that's basic. But I'm trying to make Ojmiz a little bit more of a sympathetic character, you know, reveal some more aspects to her, because I don't want to just use her as like I don't want to like just use her as like a straw man or a straw woman or a straw girl in this case. I don't want to just like use her for like all the stuff that I disagree with in the world. Is like she's the straw woman that everybody's against. I kind of want to like have a little bit of sympathy, and you notice I've started that a little bit with her dating Jamil a little bit, having a little bit of an interracial thing going on there. But that's not like the big part of it. The big part of it is like, you know, that girl needs some loving too. So it's like...
Hey, what's with that hair that Jamil has there?
The hair with Jamil, it was the best style I could come up with for... his hair is supposed to be a combination between a mohawk and dreadlocks. And unfortunately, that was the best version of that. That was when because I made like some mock-ups of like what his hair should look like, what this style should look like, and I personally thought that was the best looking one, and unfortunately it makes him look like friggin' Goku.
I was just about to say it, man.
Yeah, that's a kind of hard hairstyle to draw. I know I was sitting there working on the cartoon of it. I was like, oh, man, dreadlocks and a mohawk. Oh, this is going to be a rough one.
You did it pretty well, to be honest. I mean, my version of Jamil, I got the hair covering his eyes, but I actually think yours works pretty well, too. It's like, yeah, I recognized him immediately as Jamil, besides the fact that he was the only black kid amongst them. But
yeah, it's not hard to pick him out.